Today on Check Your Head Stories, I'm going to do something a little different. Usually I share tales of the miraculous, the curious, and the oddly beautiful, but instead I'm going to present to you a play I wrote in 1993 called Heart in a Box. This is the full version of the play, and it was recorded in 2015. A lot of people have asked for it, and it hasn't been available for many years, but now here it is, and I hope you enjoy Heart in a Box.
See this burden I bear, it's not what it appears. See the chains that I wear, they're my unending fear. Like a heavy old box that I drag round behind are the unanswered questions that run through my mind. All the methods or thoughts that I've ever embraced come to nothing at all. They come back in my face. And the moments of pleasure so quickly are gone. I would end it right now, but I'm still driven on. There are times I recall when a stirring within me said a new day would come, and I glimpsed at the dawn. Doubt soon returned, and a hopelessness filled me. Would the vision return? Was it forever gone? Memories, feelings, and schemes have less substance than dreams. Is there some absolute? Is there something that's good? If it's God, why then evil? Is God made of wood? And this bondage I'm in, well, does God even care? If you're listening at all, won't you tell me you're there? Do the blind lead the blind? Is there something to see from this bondage inside? Can I ever be free in this torment of mine? Can I find any peace from the chains that I bear? What will be my release? What will be my release? What will be my release? It's gotta be here. It's just a matter of sorting through the clutter. What do I think I'm gonna find? Key to my shackle, that's what I think. Yeah, think. There's that word again. I do everything I could do not to think. Get drunk, drugs, watch TV till my mind goes numb. It doesn't matter how I try and escape it. Sooner or later, the thoughts come back. Memories, questions, pain, it all turns into this bondage I carry around with me every single day. And I can't do this anymore. So I made a decision that I'm going to find that key tonight. I'm going to go through everything. Something's going to make sense. I'm going to be set free by my own hand, take my life. It's not so hard a choice, really, when your life's become as empty as mine has. It's academic. It's just a matter of finishing the job. I think he might still be there. I just have to go through everything. It'll make sense. Oh no, my watch, it's broken. 6:30 last Monday morning, I got a phone call. Voice on the other end of the line said, "Your mother passed away in the night. Better hurry home for the funeral." I never went to see that woman the whole time she was sick, and now she was gone. I was just numb. I hung up the phone. I guess it was subconscious because I just took my fist and I hit up against the wall so hard it broke the watch. It was a crazy thing, though. I didn't take the watch off or anything. I just kept wearing it. Couldn't tell me the time, but every time I looked down at it, it'd be 6:36 right there, getting the phone call, and it would hurt again fresh. About 1,000 times that day, it hurt again fresh. So I come home. Homecomings, they're hard enough. You know, you come back to this sense of yourself that you tried to escape. And then the questions about the big dreams that didn't work out, you know, and then you mix it with grief and you're left alone trying to figure out something, trying to find some answers. I guess that's why I'm up here, my mom's attic. I keep thinking that somehow in all the old memories and all the stuff I carry around, I'm going to find that key. Because I tried so many things, it's got to be here. I just must have missed something. Look at all these psychology books from my big self-help phase. I read every one of them. And this mirror, this reminds me of my friend Tony. He's what I call a real psych head. He's kind of extreme. He thinks everybody's dysfunctional. He says, if you're not in a support group, you're in denial. I ran into him when I got back into town. I happened to mention I had a few issues, you know, and he just loves that because he goes, oh, you got to get back in psychotherapy. He should know he's been doing it for 23 years. But even though he's been at it for his whole life pretty much, you know, he says he's finally stumbled upon the thing that's going to work. He's doing mirror therapy. He told me he had to check it out on his cable access show.
Are we rolling? Are we going? Oh, we're rolling.
Welcome to Positive Reflections.
I'm looking in the mirror and I'm liking what I see. That's what I'm supposed to say. My therapist tells me I'm building up my self-esteem. I'm better every day. The secret's not in what I do, it's all in what I say. My positive confessions make my world a paradise. And even though my life's a mess, I just say things are nice. And I am advancing, growing close to my goal. I'm telling myself I'm happy, healthy, and whole. I've got a lot of issues, well, 'cause I'm an ACA. I speak into the mirror. Stinking thinking just goes away. My friends say that I talk too much about all of my fears. I learned it all in therapy, 'cause I've been there for years. My doctor says it still may take some time to find a cure. Until my health insurance ends of that much he is sure. Hey, I don't think I trust that guy. But I am advancing, growing close to my goal. I'm telling myself I'm happy, healthy, and whole. I have a higher power It's the freckle on my nose. My freckle keeps me safe from all my codependent woes. To my support group, I have been addicted for a while. But I will own that feeling because I'm not in denial. I'm not. No, I am advancing, growing close to my goal. I'm telling myself I'm happy, healthy, and whole. Oh, who am I kidding? This isn't working. I'm not reaching my goal. Things are getting worse. I got more neurosis, more addictions. My relationships are in the toilet, and I'm not feeling happy, healthy, and whole. Oh, wait, I should have said that. I'm just kidding. Don't listen to me. I mean, listen to me right now, but not what I said before. Wait, why are you looking at me like that? Wait, it's all going down the drain. Oh, no. I didn't mean it. I'm fine. Turn the camera off. We gotta turn the camera off. Stop it. Stop it. No.
The show is a joke, and poor Tony. He got so flustered he drops the mirror, just crashes into a million pieces. 23 years of therapy down the drain, plus 7 years bad luck. Yeah, I tried that, get on the Freudian couch. I tried talking about all this. I just did. Just for years, it just didn't go anywhere. I need some answers now. My high school yearbook, look at that. A picture of my friend Daniel. He was my best friend until he became a Jesus freak. He still wears that stupid hat, too. He got all religious on me. I tried to keep my distance from there on in because I was always, a little depressed. We had some problems at home, and he was always nauseatingly happy and excited. And he's always trying to tell me about Jesus. He wanted to give me a Bible study. And that didn't fit the image, like kumbaya, sitting there with a guitar. I kind of had angst, I kind of thought I was this James Dean type of pushing my hair back, and I was troubled. And girls loved angst, it really worked for me. So I didn't really want to join up. But I guess he's about the best friend I got. Let's put it this way. When I got back into town, I called up everybody I knew trying to get a ride from the airport. Only Daniel showed up. I guess he means well with all that Jesus stuff. But really, right now, I don't have patience for that religious stuff. I got to find some real answers. Oh, look, this hat. There. This reminds me of my Uncle Joey from New York. Now, there's a guy who deals in reality, let me tell you. He's one of those guys he doesn't think. He knows he's right about everything. I saw him at the wake the other night. I guess some of the family was talking about him in less than glowing terms, and he found out about it. Most people, when they get their feelings hurt, they might brood about it, or they might set up some private meeting. Not Uncle Joey. Everything has to be big. He decides to address the family right there at the wake, because he doesn't think anything he does is ever wrong. If he's doing it, it must be right, because he is the last of a dying breed, the prince, or some kind of comic book villain. The things you people make me do. I want you to know it's come to my attention that some of you has been creeping off into the corner saying things about Uncle Joey, not very nice things. Like Uncle Joey's into something a little bit underhanded. Like Joey's into something a little bit crooked. And some of you's even at this solemn occasion, the death of my beloved sister, may she rest in peace, are saying that I am doing something illegal. I want you to know that I'm personally hurt and mortified that anyone in my own family could even think that I would do anything heinous. Just for the record, I ain't doing anything that ain't absolutely necessary in the course of business, huh? Who can blame me? I did not make the rules of this stinking world. I'm just like all you hypocrites. I look out for my family's interests, and yeah, so what? I look out for number one. Now, when I heard what you were saying about me, I got very upset. I thought, what am I going to do about this? I got very agitated. I thought, I need to talk to somebody. I need to talk to somebody reasonable. So I sat down and I had a little talk with myself.
I sat down and said, Joe, you hear what they're saying about you? This is not respectful. I said, I know. Should I do what I usually do? Maybe you should. Well, but wait. Don't rush into anything. Joe, think about this. What do you mean? Well, Joe, maybe the problem is you're just this big target. They just see this successful guy. They think you could take anything. You know, they just throw things at you. They don't recognize the kind of human being you are on the inside. They don't recognize the sensitive, beautiful person you are. Now, if they were to recognize these things, they would not say the horrible things that they're saying. I said, this is true. But how? How would they ever know what's on the inside? I said, Joe, come on, you already know this. I said, yeah, I guess I kind of do. So I'm going to let you in on a little secret. Not only am I a successful entrepreneur, successful businessman, I'm also an accomplished artiste. I sing beautiful songs, which I write. They're my own compositions. I go down to the club, I sing for the guys, and you should see their faces. When people are exposed to my talent, at first what happens is they get this shocked look on their face like, because they can't believe how good I sing. And then eventually they start to listen to the words and they go, listen, he wrote these things. He is a poet. He is a prince among men, and I would rather cut out my tongue than ever say anything bad about him ever again. Capiche? So I'm going to sing for you one of my compositions. Rocco, if you'll come up and play this organ that has been provided by the Zeffirelli brothers, and they own this joint. They laid out Sis. She looks great, doesn't she? All right. I will sing it for you at this time. Rocco, if you please. And this I dedicate to my personal hero, Francis Albert Need I Say More, Mr. Caveman of the olden days. Sent to listen with his caveman ways. If some cave joke comes to steal your grub, gotta beat that cave guy with a club. Now in modern days, things they haven't changed that much. Just instead of using clubs, we use a different touch. I'm looking out for number one. You know what I mean, huh? Even if I have to use a gun. Hey, who could blame a guy like me with dog-eat-dog mentality? I'm looking out for number one. Got a social club in Brooklyn town where all my cousins gather round. If some guy fails to show us respect, what's a family's choice but the kiss of death? But we're not animals, no, we do it with a flair. Shoot machine guns at his feet and make him dance like Fred Astaire. I'm looking out for number one. Even if I have to use a gun. Hey, who could blame a guy like me with dog-eat-dog mentality? I didn't make the rules of this world. I'm looking out for number one. Then there's romance. If some dolly goes and breaks my heart, I would never do her any harm, but I tell the boys of my lament, the dolly's feet go in cement. What's a guy to do when his heart's as soft as mine? I only settle scores, but I never am unkind. I'm looking out for number one. Even if I have to use a gun. Hey, who could blame a guy like me with dog-eat-dog mentality? I'm looking out for number one. Go for a big finish here, Rocco. I'm feeling it. I'm looking out for number one. Oh, solo mio. Nothing. I should have shot you guys. Well, you don't understand good art, man. No good.
Uncle Joey. What a Neanderthal. I don't let this get back to him, but I don't think he can sing very well either. Let's watch him. I thought, you know what? This guy, he understands. He gets what the whole world's about. I mean, it's the law of the jungle, and you just got to look out for yourself. And I was sitting there watching him. I thought, you know what? He doesn't carry around a bunch of questions and regrets, and he's not tormented. He just gets everything he wants in life. And I thought, I've been making this way too complicated. There's no questions that need to be asked. The only thing is, what's going to be good for me? And I was thinking, that's it. You just look up for number one. And I was sitting there, and I was feeling free. I thought, that's the key. That's what I've been looking for. I'm sitting to my Christian friend Daniel. He's sitting next to me, and he looks at me, and I go, what? He said, what you're saying, what your uncle's saying right now, it might sound good, but the end of it's destruction. Daniel ruins everything. I said, well, what would you recommend? He said, rather than be full of anger and self-seeking and be full of vengeance, be full of compassion and love. He said, if someone hurts you, don't hurt them back. Just bless them. Bless and do not curse. I said, yeah, that's good. Only problem is, Mr. Rogers, I don't live in that neighborhood. I happen to live in the real world. I live in New York. I tried doing something like that, and they'll walk all over you. And he said, no, it works anywhere. And then it wasn't fair. He brought up this story he told me once before about this guy that goes to his church. I think his name is Gary. It was a Friday afternoon. I was just about to finish the 5th grade. My dad came home with this jug, and he says, it's for him and me, and we should have a secret meeting out in the back behind the garage after dinner. A secret meeting. I ate so fast I couldn't even taste nothing. And then no sooner was dinner over, then Dad gets his phone call, and he grabs his car keys and goes out the front door like he forgot. But he was just messing around with me. He was just hiding behind the car, and I found him and go, hey, Dad. And he said, all right, come on. He grabbed the jug. We started heading back behind the garage, and he picked up this shovel. We get back there. He says, okay, how about me and you make a secret solemn pact? I said, okay, to what? He said, we're going to dig a hole back here. I'm going to bury this jug, and then all summer long, we're going to take our spare pocket change, just keep putting it in there, saving it up, and then saving up. When my vacation comes the end of August, we'll come out here, we'll dig the thing up, it'll be full of money, we'll march in, set it down on the kitchen table, say, all right, this year we got some real money, we're taking a real vacation, everybody pack your bags, we're headed for a whole week at Disneyland. I said, really, Dad? Cool, just this guy's real surprise the girl. So we dug a hole and put the jug down inside there, packed dirt right up to it, and they took out this big handful of pocket change with dollar bills and stuff in it and dropped it in. I didn't have none that day, but he said, that's okay, you'll get some. And then we put a rock over the top, and then we did like our secret ritual, secret handshake. We kind of wrestled a little bit, and then we did the spit thing. We spit on the ground to seal the deal, and I got his foot, and he was wearing sandals. But he wasn't mad. He just kind of wiped it off in the grass. He goes, that's okay, that's okay. He goes, now listen, this is where it gets serious. You got to promise you don't tell anybody about this. You understand me? You don't tell your mom, your sister, nobody, just between you and me. And you put money in there that is only for vacation. You don't go take anything out. It's not like a bank. You could take a loan. And you got to make as much money as you can because we're going to need some money if we're going to do this right. We're going to do the whole thing right. Now, you with me? I go, yeah. He goes, I promise. How about you? And I looked up at him, and I knew this was a big deal. So with everything in me, I said, yeah, Dad, I promise. He says, okay, you remember this. He says, a promise is a promise. Well, the summer was usually boring after only a couple weeks, but not this year, because I knew that out back we had our ever-growing pot of gold, and I did everything I could to make money, too. I took pop bottles back to the store, and I mowed lawns, and I took over paper routes for guys whose families were going on vacation, and I didn't waste no money either. Like if we went to the ice cream store, instead of getting a banana split or parfait, I'd get the smallest cone. They had a baby cone. I would save the difference. But it wasn't like I was giving nothing up, because nothing was as cool as every day taking the money I made. And I tried to do whatever I could, and I would just make my way back there, and I pretended like I was a spy, avoiding my sisters who would chase me around, go, what are you doing? Well, you're acting so weird. I'm not acting weird, you're acting weird. And they'd say, you're acting weird. And then finally they would leave me alone. And that's when I knew I could make the deposit, and I would make the coast clear, and I'd move the rock away, and I'd take the money, and I would drop it in, and you couldn't see nothing, but if you held your ear down and listened while you're putting the money, you could hear the money getting higher and higher. We're going to have so much money, but it wasn't even the money or the sneaking around I loved. You know what I loved the most? It was between my buddy Dad and me, just those guys that nobody else knew. But my buddy Dad was drinking a lot that summer. And he would come home, and he and my mom would have these really bad fights and stuff. And I go hide in my room, and then she'd say, "You're drinking up all the money. How are we going to pay the rent?" That's when I figured it out. He was just fooling her, making her think he was drunk so she wouldn't know where all the money was going. We probably had like $1 million back there. And we were going to come in the house, and she wouldn't believe it. So I just wouldn't let it bother me. It was another Friday afternoon later that summer. I come in the house after finishing up my paper art collection, and I did pretty good too. I got 13 quarters in tips, and that's more than the regular guys got. And I was just the temporary paper boy, so I did better than any of them. And I heard my mom crying in the other room. I thought, I hope my dad's not doing that drunk thing again. I thought, even if he is, so what? When we come in the house next week with all that money, she won't even believe her eyes. So I snuck out back, cool as usual. I was getting pretty good at being a spy at this point. And when I knew the coast was clear, I moved the rock, and I took the money, and I dropped it in. It's weird, though, because that sounded a little funny when I put the money in, like... It sounded like tinkly, like it was hitting the bottom of the jug, but that can't be because this thing's almost full. And then I noticed the dirt was all messed up around it, like somebody'd been digging around there. Wait, maybe somebody's been spying. I better check. I went up and I got the shovel and I started digging it up, and the dirt was moving awful easy, and I got the dirt away and I pulled up the jug, and just like I thought, just the money I put in there, Dad, our money's gone, Dad. I went in the house, I went through every room, Dad, our money's gone. I couldn't find him anyplace. And my mom comes out of her room looking all red-eyed. She scared me. She said, "Your father's left, he's not coming back, now just be quiet." And all of a sudden I knew. No neighbor took our money. It was my own dad. He took it, he didn't say nothing, and I didn't know what to do. And I just ran out back and I grabbed the jug and started yelling, "Dad, don't you remember? You said a promise is a promise. Remember, you said a promise is a promise." I kept thinking, my dad wouldn't do this. He's just joking. He's going to come up the driveway any minute, carry the money. It's just one of his jokes. And I sat down, and I just waited. It got dark, and my mom came out and said, you got to come in the house now. And my dad didn't come back. He didn't come back for months, and when he did, it was just for visitation. I said, "You're no good." I wouldn't even talk to him anymore. And I found out he went on this big vacation with his girlfriend. He always had this girlfriend. So I grew up, and nothing meant anything. I was 36 years old with a cocaine habit of my own I couldn't afford, and I wasn't above stealing either. I'm from little kids. How about that? It was just like my dad. I still couldn't forgive him. And this one night I was rushed to the ER. I was overdosed, and I didn't have no money, so there's this free clinic waiting to see this doctor, and I'm shaking and freaking out. And all of a sudden, the curtain opens. This big guy comes in, says, "Excuse me, sir." Is this a doctor? What's going on? He didn't look like a doctor. He goes, "May I tell you all about the love of my Savior, Jesus Christ?" I thought, wait a minute, I'm about to die here. They let some religious nut come in and cost me? And I thought, well, wait a minute, I'm about to die. Maybe I should listen to him. I go, "Okay, whatever you're selling, I ain't going anywhere. Tell me all about it." And he comes in, he sits down, he starts reading this little booklet to me, you know. I could tell he's all nervous because he's going through it, and he starts telling me all these Bible verses and the plan, and he goes through the whole thing, you know. He's like reading it. And then finally he gets to the end. He goes, "Now, would you like to say this prayer and receive Jesus as your Lord and Savior?" I said, yeah. He said, "You would?"
I said, yeah. He goes, okay. Repeat this prayer after me. And he did real fast. He got nervous. He'd say a line, I'd say a line, he'd say a line, amen, amen. He gave me the book. He left. I don't know why I was vibing that guy so much. I guess I was embarrassed or something, but I was listening to every word. And when I prayed that prayer, I really meant it, and Jesus took me serious. It was kind of amazing because nobody took me serious. I was just like the big joke. I was the addict, the loser. But he did. He took me serious, and he kept his promise. He came in my heart. He made me like a new person right there. Boom. I was just changed. Everything was different. And not only that, he healed me. I was just fine. The doctor came in and said, what's your problem? I go, I don't know. I feel pretty good. He checked me out and said, okay, go home. Don't waste our time here anymore, please. And I walked out there. The drugs were over. I went home. My life was changed. At first, everybody thought it was just another thing, like, oh, he's just doing this to get money for drugs. But my mom, my sisters, they came around to believe in too. Now I got to find my dad and tell him I understand his bondage. I know Jesus could set him free and that Jesus could forgive him. And because of Jesus, I forgave him too. Looking back into some harder times, I know you did the best you could. But sometimes life is not the way we planned. I wish back then I understood. I resented how you let me down. Said I could never be that way. With the years, I saw what I'd become, and how I failed made me ashamed. And after all the Lord has done in me, turn my anger into rest. After all the mercy given me, how could I give any less? As they pierced his hands, Jesus forgave. Now he says you do this too. I tell you now, my bitterness is gone. So I give his love to you. And after all the Lord has done in me, turn my anger into rest. After all the mercy given me, how could I give any less? story stayed with me. Because my own dad left when I was in junior high school. Makes me think that there's something to this Jesus stuff, because if I could forgive him, it'd be a miracle. Believe me, I've tried. See this? It's a crystal. I started wearing things like this around my neck all the time when I first moved to New York to become this big rock star. So some of the first people I met out there were these new agers. You know, they talked about spiritual things all the time, vibrations and finding harmony with the universe. There was this one in particular named Wanda, and when I met her, she said to me, "You have a beautiful aura, yet I sense an inner struggle." You didn't have to talk to me to know there was an inner struggle, but Wanda was so great looking, anything she said got me charged up. We started hanging out together. Turns out Wanda knew everybody in the music business. I mean, she was very well connected. She networked. I thought, this is incredible. I move here, I get these great friends, I get this great girlfriend. Now she'll introduce me, my career's as good as made. But she said, "Oh no, success does not come from who you know. Success comes from being self-actualized, from finding the God within, from creating your own reality." I wanted to take the most direct route possible. So I started eating a lot of brown rice, you know, vegetables, purifying the system. We thought the purer our systems were, you know, the closer we'd be to the chakras, we'd move up and be self-actualized in no time. We go to psychics and astrologers and tarot card readers and rebirthers, $500 a pop. Practice meditation, yoga, light therapy. It didn't matter. All the different practices, all the different people, they said the same thing, that we were gods and we created our own reality. So I got involved with self-hypnosis and the ancient Egyptian art of astral travel. The process was simple. You'd relax using drugs and alcohol if necessary. Well, I always found them necessary. And then once you reach the relaxed state, you would imagine yourself walking down the beautiful garden path. You would think that's where all the trouble would come from, but it was, because the first thing you were supposed to do was to visualize those people who would hurt you most in your life. And I always see my father's face there in front of me, and then you were supposed to forgive them. Well, that wasn't going to happen. The best I could do was look at him as if he were pathetic and see myself as superior, put him out of my mind. That seemed acceptable as I keep on going down my spiritual path until I would come to my spirit guide, who would look at me with a face full of wisdom and no judgment at all, and just gently take my hand and guided me down the path to find this destiny. It went on like this for a long time, but then it started to change. At one point, the spirit guide didn't seem so gentle, seemed less happy to see me and more annoyed, and then disgusted. And it wasn't a gentle kind of leading down a path anymore. It was like being dragged down the side of a mountain and scraped up and pushed. And then as you descended the mountain, it grew darker and darker until finally pitch black. I couldn't see anything. And I thought, okay, I'm afraid. What does this all mean? I thought, well, no, I'm creating my own reality. This is a vortex to another dimension, to my true destiny. And then I would just try to imagine. And I would see these tunnels that would go up into, I don't know, another dimension. There was light at the end of the tunnel, and angelic beings hovering around the top, and they knew I was down there. They would beckon for me to leave my body, come up through the tunnel and join them, and once I did, they'd show me the secrets of the universe.
Relax and open up your mind. Like the smoke, take it in. Let your cosmic ride begin. There's a higher place to go. Ask the guide now to lead. Angel voices calling me. Come up here, see the light. Let your destiny take flight. Eden's mysteries unfold. There's a God inside your soul. Angel voice. Angel voices. Carried by the angel songs, I would follow right along where my body could not go. Ancient wisdom filled my soul. Reality is up to you. It matters not which way you choose. Only honestly believe. To say one way is bigotry. Come up here, see the light. Let your destiny take flight. Eden's mysteries unfold. There's a God inside your soul. Angel voice. Angel voices. And every night I would return. So much more I had to learn. As time went on, the voices changed. And now the song was sounding strange. Come up here, see the light. Let your destiny take flight. Eden's mysteries unfold. There's a God inside your soul. Angel voice. Angel voice. The angels' masks began to fall. These were angels, not at all, but grotesque messengers of lies. And not too late I realized their voices had some strange control. Their talons ripping in my soul. I don't know who to call. Is there any hope at all? Be silent voices. Be silent voices. If I am God, leave me alone. No. No. Let me be. Go on and let me be. I'll call on God. Help me. Help me, Jesus. I called out to God and it answered me. I think, I don't know. I gave up on wanting the big career. I didn't even care anymore. How can I explain it? It's like the natural walls of my being are torn down. Every filthy thing I see in the streets, it's like it's inside me. And the voices went away for a while, but they came back worse than ever. And they don't want to enlighten me. They don't want to help me. They want to destroy me. This is their idea. They say just a couple quick cuts and it'll all be quiet. Just let it dip in and it'll all up away. And I almost did. the call about my mom that stopped me. I just thought if I came back here, maybe I'd find the key. Something would make sense. When I came back, I needed to talk to somebody. But only Daniel was around, so I talked to him. I didn't dare tell him how desperate I was. I knew if he found out I was suicidal, and he'd preach me to death before I had a chance to do it myself. But I told him, about the spirit guy. He got really upset. He goes, "Oh no, this is a demonic area." He said, "This is terrible." He said, "Don't you know? Jesus stops the madness." What is it, the Christian thing? You got to have a little bumper sticker for everything, a little quip that's going to save everything. Come on. I mean, my whole life's unraveling. I got to just get a little saying that's going to do it. And the whole religion thing just baffles me in the first place. I mean, come on, those guys on television, I watch them sometimes. Who could believe that stuff? I watch it not because I think I'm going to get anything out of it. I happen to think that's some of the funniest stuff on TV. There's this one guy, he's so outrageous. I think he's my favorite because he's so crazy. And I think if he's serious, I think he should be arrested. He bilks people, really. I mean, it's amazing. But he's not arrested. In fact, he's rewarded because people keep sending him money. I think his name is Brother Balaam.
Dear friends, you know how diligently we come into your living rooms every day, bringing our message of happiness and joy. But tonight we come with heavy heart, because unless we can pay thousands of dollars to our creditors, Brother Balaam's old time happy hour may be taken off your station. This is a dire situation where our very lifestyles hang in the balance, so won't you please send your partner pledge today? Oh, the camera's on. All right, I love you, and I can see you right through the TV screen. I'm looking at you right there in your living room, And it was just the other day I was thinking of you, my friend, and all the blessings you would get for every love gift you would send. That's right. They say that all the mansions and glory like jewels appear. And so it makes good sense that ministers like me should get their mansions while down here. The man downstairs is getting angry. He's pushed the program's future to the edge. So won't you please keep Brother Balaam on the air? Have you said your pledge? You see her every day at the same time. Sister Cora's lovely smile. Well, Sister Cora needs a brand new green Rolls Royce to help her go in style. And it's only you, my friends, that can help us by doing what you should. Because it only helps our cause if you send cash to keep us looking good. The man downstairs is getting angry. He's pushed the program's future to the edge. So won't you please keep Brother Balaam on the air? Have you sent your pledge? Now, lady, our affairs have been questioned. They say I'm living to excess. But I have given all my life to preaching, so I deserve the best. The man downstairs is getting angry. He'd make me have to purchase second best. So won't you please keep Brother Balaam in first class? Have you said your pledge? Now, what we think about around here mostly is you. That's right. We love you so much. I got a whole IT department that has gone on the website and made it so easy. You go on there, you won't be frustrated at all. Just one big button that says give. You press that, you just designate how much you're going to give. And you know what? If you're elderly folks, we got an online will. And don't worry, you don't have much to give. We're set up to take food stamps. That's what we do for you. And I know tonight there's going to be a pledge of $100,000. I claim that pledge and will hold my breath until I receive. Lord, help me out now.
But Mr. Answer for everything, he says to me, you can't blame God for the way some people misrepresent him. I said, come on, Daniel, I got you on this one. He said, no, really, the Bible itself said there would be those who come in Christ's name interested only in profit. I said, I don't care what the Bible says. How do you expect me to sign up when you got examples like that running around? He says, oh, you just need an example? That was the wrong thing to say. He started telling me stories. Oh, but there was this one. He said, this is one in particular. This guy, his simple faith, it just dwarfs the pettiness of those wolves. If you met him, you'd have your example. And I heard this story about this guy named Barry. You ever sit out at night and look at the stars? I don't mean the city was only a few. I mean, we're on a lot of ground lights, and it's just so beautiful out there. No trees or smog. Just big, just like that in my backyard. I go out back there and sit with my little son Max on my knee, look up at all those billions of stars, and think, woo, the Lord made all that. He's bigger than all that too. And we're so small down here, but he knows all about us. He knows the number of hairs on our head. I'm serious. You pull one out, he's there changing record. He knows all about it. He knows every little tiny little fact. He knows the number of our days, and you know how I count. Wait, that's right. You don't know this story. Forgive me. I'm going to have to start at the beginning. About 5 years ago, I married my beautiful wife, Lisa, and we went off on a honeymoon. Lord blessed us. We come home after a couple weeks, and I had to go in for a routine physical, only it turned out not to be so routine after all because I was diagnosed as having leukemia. Here we're just starting our lives, and I get the news my life is just about over. Didn't make much sense. We went home. We prayed. And the Lord gave us peace just to go on and live our lives like there was no problem. We did. We started having kids, too. Wasn't too long for little Anthony comes along and Max, and they're cutest boys you ever seen. Two characters, both of them. I could tell you stories all night. Yeah, I won't do that to you, but you can't see leukemia. It's in the blood. It keeps right on going, so I kept right on seeing the doctor. And here a couple of Januaries ago, something like that, he calls me into his office after some blood work, and he sits me down across from this big old mahogany desk. Now, he sits there with that professional grim face that some doctors have, and he's stroking his whiskers, and he says to me, Mr. Feiler, I'm afraid I have some bad news. Your disease is in a crisis phase referred to as cell blast. Now, when leukemia goes into cell blast, there's not much that can be done. And not much time left. At the most, you got about a month. Well, we went home, we prayed, and it's been more than 3 years since that month has come and gone. The Lord still sees fit to keep me here. Now, I still got leukemia. I'm not healed or anything. My spleen's all enlarged. I got to wear this thing around my waist, holds it in. It's not a girdle. It is an official medical garment, so I don't want to hear nothing about that. You're trying to get away with something, but you can't get rid of leukemia. It just keeps on and going. You go through something like this, you think of time a bit differently too. You don't want to waste any time, but then you don't want to rush through anything either. You know what I mean? Because you want to stop and smell the roses, but you want to just keep going and get everything done. So I was going through that dilemma as I laid in bed a few weeks ago because I was thinking, I need to get a good night's sleep. I got a lot planned tomorrow. But I thought, no, I need to think these thoughts. I was having dreamy, beautiful thoughts, all of them like visions. Then a thought crossed my mind, so transplendent. I knew I had to seize the moment because it said to me, Barry, get yourself up out of bed right now, get dressed and go out back and play some basketball, which I did. I went back there, shooting a few around too. I was doing real well till my neighbor, he raised up his window and he let me know what he thought of my midnight basketball game right outside his window. I apologized, decided if it's going to do anything outside after midnight, it ought to be quiet thing. So I just went for a walk out in front of the house. Dirt road runs in front of our house. We're out there by the woods, and I hadn't gone very far. It was a beautiful night like tonight is. I saw something moving down the way. Now, you don't see strangers in my neighborhood very often. They don't find this road. But sometimes you do. But you usually don't see them in the middle of the night like this, especially not that big. They didn't look like they were just got lost in something. They just looked like they're up to no good. Now, we've been having a problem because people have been coming up to the woods doing drugs and whatnot, and I thought they looked like they're up to no good. So I thought, I'm going to just go on the porch, turn on the light, and let them know someone sees them. So I started heading over, and they catch up to me. And I'm in my yard, but they cut me off on the way to my own front porch. They throw down their bikes and start running towards me. They said, halt, halt. And I said, fellas, I don't want any trouble. I just want to go on my porch. Because I said halt. And I said, I'm just going to go up. And next thing I know, because I won't halt, they're hitting me with these rods. They're hitting me. They're screaming. Commotion woke my wife, Lisa, up. She runs out in the porch. She's screaming about my spleen. They're screaming at me. Then one of them starts to go after her. And I jumped up. I tried to stop him. The other one hits me in the back of the head. I went down. He gets up there and turns into a perfect gentleman. Turned out there were a couple undercover police officers who'd been chasing a man who looked like me. Case of mistaken identity, I guess, where they rushed me to the hospital. Now, who comes to my room the next morning but the chief of police? He's carrying some flowers, and I thought, well, that's really nice of him. He comes to see how I am and maybe apologize. I was naive, I suppose, because no sooner does he get in the room, he says, Mr. Filer, I'm very sorry about what has happened to you, but I just am here with a statement by the mayor himself, and we assume no responsibility for the mishap that is due to your negligent... I said, wait, what are you talking about? I go, you know as well as I do, I didn't do anything wrong. I was a man in my own front yard, and your men come and beat me half to death, and not to mention I was a sick man before you ever did this. Now you just made my situation worse, and you come in here acting like, here's your flowers, and now go away. How dare you? Look at me in the eye, man to man, because you know what? You ought to be ashamed of yourself. Now here's how it is. You got me riled up now. He says, Mr. Fowler, I'm just asking you to be reasonable. I go, don't say another word. Now don't tell me about reasonable. What I'm going to do is nothing like reasonable. Have a seat, because this is how it is. I know what you're thinking about, the big headline. Ailing man beaten half to death in his own front yard by overzealous police officers. And you're thinking about the big settlement I'm going to get when I get my lawyer and sue you. I said, well, this is how I'm going to handle it. I'm not going to go to the press. I'm not going to make a big thing about this. I'm going to just keep it to myself. And I'm not going to get myself a lawyer. I'm not even going to pursue any kind of lawsuit. The only requirement I have for this to go away is you and them two fellas that beat me up half to death have to come in here and let me explain to you why I'm able to be so benevolent. Because I'm going to tell you all about the love and forgiveness and salvation in my Savior, Jesus Christ. See his face, I think he would have rather been sued. He said, all right, they came in there. I told them what Jesus had done, and I'm looking in their eyes. I must admit to you right now that I had a little bit of vengeance in my heart because I gave them the long version and I did not allow bathroom breaks. But I know it touched their hearts. One of them, I believe, was praying along with me when I led them in the prayer to receive Jesus Christ. Well, they let me all go from the hospital a couple weeks ago after all that. Before they did, they gave me an exit interview. And I sat down across from the doctor. He says to me, Barry, I got to talk to you. He calls me on my first name basis now because I've been there longer than any of his other patients. He said, no doubt you've done remarkably well with a very difficult disease. And I said, Doc, you mean like a miracle, right? He hates that word. But he looked at me and said, be that as it may. He says, Barry, I'm telling you, I'm very fond of you. You're an amazing person, but I got to tell you straight, you've sustained damage to your organs that help you fight off this disease. And for some reason, your disease picked now to become more aggressive than ever. You were going into a battle with no chance of winning and your hands tied behind your back and no ammunition. He said, please, Barry, go home and set your affairs in order because the most you got is 2 weeks. Well, he can keep setting his deadlines. But I know the one who really knows. And none of us knows how long we have, not one, but I know as long as I have, I want to keep telling people about the love and forgiveness of my Savior, Jesus Christ. And I know one of these days he's going to call me home. When he does, I'm going to go gladly and stand in front of him face to face and say, oh, Jesus, I love you. But as for right now, he's got me down here looking up at him through all these billions of stars, and I know he's looking right back down at me too. He says to me, Barry, you see all these stars more than you can imagine are there? I made them all, and I didn't make them forget them. I know them by name. I got them around, keep them from bumping into each other. He said, now if I can keep track of all that, how much more do you think I know about you? Because remember, I sent my son to die for you. And I am right in front of you, leading you too. Was a time I did not know or even understand, when the darkness held me in its grip of fear. But you told me that you conquered death at Calvary. So take courage and be strong, 'cause I am here. Wherever you go, whatever you're going through, no matter the time, I will be with you. If ever you fear, remember my love for you. Wherever you go, I will be with you. All the ones I'm at the threshold of an open door. Though the gates were closed, somehow you made a way. And before me is all I've been truly hoping for. And I hear your promise as you call my name. Wherever you go, whatever you're going through, no matter the time, I will be with you. If ever you fear, remember my love for you. Wherever you go, I will be with you. When you're walking through the fire, fear not, I'll be with you. Have I not said and declared, those flames shall nothing do? Passing through the water, no flood shall overflow. For I am with you, wherever you may go. Don't you fear? Wherever you go, whatever you're going through, no matter the time, I will be with you. If you ever should fear my love for you, I will be I'm gonna be with you, passing through the water. Fear not, I'll be with you. Okay, so I can't understand faith like that. Big deal. It suits his personality. Yeah, everybody finds their own way, you know? That's powerful, but come on. Yeah, come on, he's a hick, right? I'm a postmodern urban male. I live in Manhattan. I deal with things he couldn't even, complexities he couldn't even dream of. Okay, so he deals with some heavy stuff, but yeah, that doesn't prove anything. Everybody finds their own way. How about my mom? How'd she feel while she was laying there waiting to die? Daniel heard me say that. He said, you're always learning, but you're never coming to the knowledge of the truth. Funny thing is, for the first time ever, I think I might have understood something Daniel said. Doesn't matter, though, because he dropped the subject, started talking about a friend of ours we both knew in high school. Hey, Mike, I saw Donald Morton. Remember Donald, that real smart kind of artsy guy? He worked in the high school newspaper. Yeah, you remember, he was always into some wild stuff. He moved to Nepal, and he studied with Dalai Lamas and Tibetan monks and stuff, and then he had this little import business. He brought relics over. He was also smuggling a few drugs in there. Well, he came back here. He sold paintings for a while. I heard somewhere in his travels he got infected with the HIV virus. I don't know if it's the drugs or what, but I was over at the hospital. I was visiting somebody, and you know how I was looking down the hallway. I saw some patients, and I see this face, vaguely familiar. It was Donald Morton. He's got full-blown AIDS now. He looks quite different. I just had to go try and talk to him one more time. So I walked in and says, "Hey, Daniel, how are you?" I couldn't believe it. After all these years, he recognized me. I said, hey, how you doing? He goes, wasting away with AIDS. He's always had that kind of weird sense of humor. I went, oh, yeah. I noticed. That's why I came in. I thought I might share something with you that might be of some help. And he looks at this big Bible I'm carrying at the time. He kind of rolls his eyes. He goes, "Oh, you're still at it, huh?" I said, "Yeah." He goes, "Well, if you've been in it for this long, maybe there's something to it. Tell me all about it." So I told him a few things. And now, Mike, I want to tell you some of the same things. So, see, I think you and Donald got a lot in common. I know you're not dying of AIDS or anything like that, but something tells me you're just as desperate, like you're dying on the inside. And you've always questioned everything. It's like you're afraid to come to some conclusions, like your identity to be the questioner. But here's the truth. You got to come to a conclusion. Here's one for you. You're a sinner. I know you hate when I say that, but you are. You're not some innocent bystander or some victim or some cosmic poet watching life from the wings and making comment. No, you're a player. You're part of it, and you're a sinner. And I'm not trying to insult you and saying you're worse than anybody else. It just means you're not perfect, because everybody's a sinner. You're not perfect. The only one who isn't, the one who's perfect is God. And he can't have a relationship with anybody who isn't perfect too. It's not because he's a snob. It's just his eyes are pure. And if he sees something unjust or imperfect in any way, he has to judge it. Otherwise, he becomes unjust. And he can't go against his nature, but his nature is also to be loving and forgiving. So there's kind of a problem, right? He's got to judge, but he wants to love. He says, I got this creation I love so much, but I can't have anything to do with them because they rebelled against me, and there's a price to pay for that, and they can't pay it. They can't be good enough. The price for sin isn't, balancing it out with some good works. The price for sin is death. And if they died, they're separated from me forever in hell, so that's not going to work. But it really wasn't a problem at all, because he knew all along what he was going to do. He said, I'll pay the price myself. But in order to do that, he had to become one of us. So God took on human flesh and became man. And I don't know how he did that, but he did. He was just completely unique. He was 100% God and 100% man at the same time, but he was just this little baby, Jesus. He was born, baby Jesus. There he was, and he was perfect. I mean, he wasn't born into sin. He didn't sin his whole life, and he just lived his whole life. And he was perfect. And not goody two-shoes perfect that would just annoy you. Just perfect in compassion, in understanding, in power, in righteousness, in every way. And if you saw him and your eyes were pure and your heart was pure, you said, that's it. That's the way, and you'd follow. A lot of people followed him because they saw the truth. Some people followed him because he was pretty cool. He could do all this amazing stuff. He could do miracles. He could take a little bit of bread and feed thousands of people with it and just keep multiplying it. He could heal people. I mean, he could do all kinds of stuff. A lot of people followed him because, it was like the hot thing to do. Some people hated him. You know who hated him? These guys named Pharisees. They were kind of the top of the heap. They had all the money and the power, and they're the ones that they said they were the closest to God, and they took his rules and they interpreted them for all the other people. They didn't like people very much, and when they walked down the street, they'd hold their robes real tight so they wouldn't be made unclean by the common folk. And then, here comes Jesus. He bothers them because they were really wicked at heart. If they want to do some evil thing, well, they would just get together and look at the rules and go, well, we could change this, and if you do this. And they'd find all these loopholes, and they'd make all these rituals. So you could really do any evil thing you wanted, but as long as you just followed the code, then they wouldn't consider it wrong. And Jesus isn't playing those games. He's a straight shooter, He's really telling the truth, and he's loving people. He's touching them. He's not afraid to be unclean because he'd touch them and heal them. And he's got real power. He's making the Pharisees look very bad. So they say, you know what, this guy's got to go. He's going to ruin everything for us. So they plot against him. They had some power, so they pulled some strings in the government, and they got a whole battalion of the army to go one night while Jesus is unarmed, alone, praying in the garden. And they take him and they just beat him so you can't even recognize him as a human being. They mock him. They give him this trial that was just a complete sham. And then they give him a death sentence. And really, in just a matter of hours, they get him nailed to a cross. And at any point, Jesus could have said, this is unjust. I'm not going to do this. He could have come down off the cross and said, you can all live forever in hell. But that's not what he came to do. He came to die on that cross, to shed his blood, to pay the price for your sin and my sin. And he hung up there and died. But see, because he was God, he couldn't stay dead. And after 3 days, he rose up again. And when he did that, he did the impossible. He conquered death. He paid the price for sin. He opened up a way we could have a relationship with God. All we got to do is believe him. Jesus said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. Nobody comes to the Father but through me. And he says he loves you. And Wait, don't give me the face. Okay, don't even, you know what, I know what you're going to say because you say it to me every time. Well, if he's a God of love, then how can you explain the pain and suffering in the world? Don't you listen? God knows all about the pain and suffering in the world. It bugs him a whole lot more than it bugs you. For him, it costs him everything. For you, it's just an excuse. He's not going to turn you into some mindless, choiceless zombie to cure it because that's not love and he is love. He won't force you, but he'll do everything he can to woo you. He made the whole world so you would go out and look at it and go, wow, look at all this. And you study, there's design here. Hey, maybe there's a designer. You got a conscience, you feel guilty. You do something and all of a sudden you go, oh, that was wrong. I feel guilty. Why do I feel guilty? Maybe because I'm a sinner and I need to be forgiven. Maybe I need a savior. He's always putting the gospel in front of you. Nothing else. He sent you guys like me to keep bugging you. But he won't force you. But he wants to let you know he knows about everything you've ever been through, every question, every broken heart, every disappointment, everything that bothers you. And he wants to take that broken heart that's so wounded. And he wants to wrap it up. And he wants to give you a future and a hope. But he won't force you. When I shared these things with old Donald Morton, he didn't say anything. He was kind of weeping, though. He's got to decide. Now, up to you to decide now, too. But I wasn't there at the hospital to see Don Morton. I was actually there to visit your mom. We got to be pretty good friends there at the end. I know you didn't even know I knew her very much, but and the last time I saw her, she gave me this stuff. And it was weird because she knew stuff. Even before it happened, it was weird because she said, she goes, here, I need you to do something for me. I go, okay, sure. She goes, would you give this to my son, Michael? She said, he's in a lot of trouble, and he really needs this. I go, why don't you just give it to him? She goes, well, I'm not going to see him, and I'm going to die. What do you mean? She goes, no, I'm going to die. She goes, yeah, you're getting better. She goes, I'm fine. I'm dying. I said, but I'm good with that. She said, but he's the one that's in trouble. So look, I'm just going to leave this stuff here. You should be alone when you look at it. But yeah, before I go, I just got to say, a couple of things. We've been friends since we were kids. I know you, when I became a Christian, you backed off, but I'm still your friend. I still pray for you every day. I watch you go to New York and you come back and visit. Every time, you look a little rougher around the edges. I thought, well, maybe that's the New York fashion statement or something. But it's not that. I look in your eyes. And this time I look in your eyes and I see somebody who's been in a war for a very long time. You're about to give up. Jesus said, come to me, all you that labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. And old friend to old friend, you need a rest. So for all your questions, I got one for you. What are you going to do with Jesus Christ? Don't be empty. Don't be empty, please. It's no key. Nothing comes with nothing. How dare you, Daniel? You use my mother's memory to peddle your pathetic religion? You make me sick. Mom, I'm sorry I didn't come to see you. I didn't know you. I didn't know you were gonna die. I just thought if you saw me, I'd make you worse. Maybe you knew. Daniel said it's like you knew stuff. Maybe you know where the key is, Mom. Don't let me down because I am out of options, please. Dear Michael, the end of my life is here, and you will be reading this after my death. I want you to know that I've always loved you, but I didn't always do the right thing. I regret that I passed on to you all the bitterness that I built up over the years after your father left. I was a poor example in many ways, but in the past few days, a change has occurred, and I hope I can pass that on as well. I prayed and asked Jesus to come into my heart, and now I can see how wrong I've been. He has filled me with love and hope and joy, even in the face of death. How I wish I'd always lived for him. And I pray that you will know him too. With much love, Mom. Don't you go crazy before you die, little woman. You're another sucker to believe this stuff, huh? Well, all right, I guess that leaves you and me here alone to wrestle this thing out. Because guess what? I can't find the key. There's nothing in there, so what are you going to do about it, huh? This is your big chance. You want to be a savior? Come on, here I am. What are you going to do? Yeah, nothing. Always nothing from you, huh? That's what I get, you know. It's like, oh, the love, yeah, you know. Always nothing. When did you ever give me a break? When did you are so arrogant. I know why you think we should think you're the only way. Because I'll tell you what, you don't see what's real. You know what? That is real. People don't see it, but it's the most real thing in my life. How about this? How about this? This is real. How about this? Is this real enough for you? The voices I hear, where are you? Yeah, because you don't care. Or you're not there or something. Just leave me alone. I'm just going to do it. There's nothing else to do. Nothing's going to get any better. There's no key. It's just going to stay the same way. I'm just going to leave me alone. Leave me alone. Be quiet. I can't take this anymore. This is no hope. I'll just dip in. It'll all be quiet. Just a couple of minutes. It'll all be quiet. Just leave me alone. Help me. Help me, Jesus. Be real. I believe I'm doing this. Okay. All right. I'm a sinner, okay? I am. I confess, and I need you. And I believe you're God. And you died for me. And I want to ask you to come in my heart and forgive me. And I believe the whole thing, that you died and rose, and so help me to do this, because I am not this kind of person, okay? Amen. Okay. Is that it? Okay. All right, then. So this is what I was giving you a hard time about, huh? Did that even work? I don't. Okay, well, there you go. It's pretty easy. But it wasn't easy for you, was it? The wood, the nails. No. Wait a minute, this worked, didn't it? Because I don't want to be dead anymore. I feel clean. No more voices. You're gone. This is real. You're real. I'm a Jesus freak. And I said terrible things about you, but you love me. I cursed you, but no more. I question you, but not anymore. I just believe you. I believe you. You are not going to be sorry about this because I am going to follow you and I'm going to serve you. And you will not regret. Believe me, because if you say it, I'm just going to believe it. And no more questions asked. I'm just going to just do it. I just want to point out, I'm just getting started, okay? So if you don't mind, I got one more question. Have you got anything in this book of yours that could help me with this? And it's kind of a bondage. So, and by the way, I'm really sorry I threw your book down. And I didn't really, I mean, look at that. Nice, very, I got leather and a little snap. Wow. Gold. Ribbons, too. Ooh, nice paper. Wow, what a good book this is. Oh, man. Red and black and, wait a minute. Somebody has been marking in here, writing, underlining things. And I think that was probably my mom. But I just want to apologize for her on her behalf. And I would never write in a book of this holiness. So please, I don't know what I'm doing here, okay? Because what's going to set me free? That's what I want to know. But you knew this was going to happen. Because I go, what's going to set me free? I look down, what's underlined? You will know the truth, and the truth will make you free. That's crazy. And what's stuck in here? It's been so long, I've been longing. Oh, freedom come. Now it's here, new life begins. I'm forgiven. He broke the chains of my fear. The darkness is gone. He has ripped the veil. The light streaming in. Here's the key. The truth has set me free. Free indeed. Now I rejoice in His goodness, my thirsty soul He satisfies. I had rebelled, He gave mercy, He brought the truth to my eyes. The darkness is gone, He has ripped the veil. The light streaming in, here's the key. The truth has set me free, free indeed. Free from bondage, oh no, free from sin and death. Oh,
light streaming in. We are free. The truth has set me free. Free indeed. Free, free indeed. Lord has set us free, free indeed. Lord has set us. Woo!
There's a little